level, there seemed to be a better understanding and more advocacy on the significance of youth to all spheres of development, such that they have been included in every decision-making process. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, about 50% of voters in the last general election aged between 18 and 35, which no doubt indicates that young people are and will remain a major factor in the nation's political landscape. Ahead of the 2023 general election, there are renewed campaigns and determination across board towards galvanizing young Nigerians into active participation in the political process. What are the obstacles confronting them in actively participating in formal institutionalized political process? How can young people be encouraged to vow for political positions? Are there Nigerians ready to take over the helms of leadership? Do they have the structure to meet expected goals? These issues and more are the basis of our discussion today on Panorama, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority. My guest is already waiting on the wings.
Good afternoon.
I'm Kendi Adebisi. Stay with us. OPEC Secretary General Mohamed Sani Barkindo has described the 2021 African Refiners and Distributors Association's conference as the latest in OPEC's portfolio of high-level dialogues. The conference, with the theme Developing Africa's Downstream Energy Transition Plan, includes ongoing meeting with European Union, China, India, Russia, and the USA towards clearing contending perspectives on the energy transition. Lydia Sampson reports.
Determined to drive the energy transition conversation to factor in the peculiar nature of oil and gas in the entire energy mix, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has been holding high-level engagements with global critical stakeholders. With 7 African oil-producing countries being members of the organization, the dialogue with the African Refiners and Distributors Association is seen as a logical next step for OPEC. Barkindo says he's hoping OPEC and Africa relations will further enhance through this new dialogue event for both sides to benefit thoroughly from the highly valuable exchange of outlooks and research.
The unpleasant reality is that the industry is still reeling from the devastating impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, during which investment declined by a massive 30% in 2020. This scenario of underinvestment, if it were to continue, could result in demand exceeding supply, creating heightened market volatility and an energy security risk to both producers and consumers.
The Secretary General says one cannot read a newspaper or watch the news without hearing about the impending energy transition and how countries and the energy industry might respond to this global challenge. Ironically, he said, the fervor surrounding this topic has been intensified further by the recent volatility brought on by the coronavirus pandemic, and discussions related to climate change and the energy transition has risen to the top of the energy industry agenda. These debates are expected to reach a fever pitch in less than 3 weeks as the UN Climate Change Conference COP26 kicks off on the 31st of October in Glasgow, Scotland. The Secretary General added that OPEC is working closely with its member countries to advocate for real change on these issues in the lead up to and during this very important conference. He lamented how recently the industry witnessed investors and environmental lobbyists and even some corporate bodies exerting increasing pressure on governments and oil-producing companies to adopt radical policies and initiatives that could, in the end, be more disruptive than productive for the global energy industry. He reiterates that such views are both risky and unrealistic. He said, well, OPEC fully supports the need to decrease emissions and bolster innovation and enhance efficiency. That cannot come out of the cost of draining industry investment. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News. Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Huge investment in the power sector is expected in 2022 as federal government proposes more than 300 billion naira for the sector. Joshua Ojito reports on some of the priority projects for the sector next year.
For 2022, 301.257 billion naira is allocated for the power sector. Among projects that will receive attention include Rural Electrification Access Program in federal universities at the cost of 1.25 billion naira, while 114 billion naira will be expended on the completion of renewable energy projects nationwide. 220.5 billion naira for multilateral and bilateral funded projects like Sungeru, Abuja Power Feeding Scheme, and Transmission Access Projects.
The president have done enough in investment in brownfield on the transmission grid infrastructure for, grid improvement package. This is the first time that we are seeing genuine intervention.
Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project is receiving attention in the 2022 appropriation bill with 200 million naira counterpart fund to be injected into the project.
Very wonderful. Our people are prepared. We've already sensitized them on the need for the project.
Also captured in the 2022 appropriation bill is Kashimbila Transmission Project and 430 million naira for the construction of 215 gas power stations in Kaduna, while 1 billion naira is appropriated for the distribution expansion project to utilize stranded power from the grid. Expectations are high among electricity customers that the investment in the sector will translate to improved power supply in the country. In Abuja,
In the recovery process, Nigeria's economic growth rate will rebound to firmer footing. President of the bank, Akinwumi Adesina, made the assertion at a midterm ministerial performance review retreat in Abuja. Benny Adams reports.
Nigeria is part of a global mix that is applying all measures to not only survive the COVID-19 onslaught on the economy, but also recover and return to prosperous ways. To achieve this, President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, is of the view that Nigeria needs to explore every revenue opportunity in the non-oil sector while investing in infrastructure and financial innovations.
A young, productive, youthful population with access to education, skills, social protection, affordable housing, and medical care will power Nigeria's economy now and well into the future.
To help the recovery process in Africa, Adesina says the bank has launched a $10 billion crisis response facility with a $289 million in budget support to Nigeria. This is in addition to a $3 billion in support of local pharmaceutical industries in Africa, with Nigeria having a fair share. He says, with adequate investment in the digital economy and the agri-value chain, a growth rate of 2.4% this year and a 2.9% by 2022 is possible. Benny Adams, NTA News. NTA News.
The federal government is investing in the infrastructural growth of Lagos with the goal of facilitating trade and increasing employment opportunities. In this report, Marco Lolale examines the infrastructural growth and how it is changing the spectrum of investment.
Within a day, vividly fits into the persistence and steady infrastructural growth Nigeria has witnessed in more than 60 years. This is one of the major lanes on Broad Street in Lagos, and Time, her healing therapy, has done a lot to give a befitting facelift to buildings and structures here. Down the road are stretches of bridges, expanding from a co-bridge to one of the longest in Africa, which is the Third Mainland Bridge. But the beauty in all of this is that successful governments have played a crucial role in developing this infrastructure to its present state. The last few years have not only been dedicated to increasing the volume of road infrastructure, but maintenance and reconstruction of new ones. For instance, the 11.8-kilometer Third Mainland Bridge underwent the removal and replacement of expansion joints, while underwater resurfacing is still ongoing.
What is of importance is the quality of work they are doing. And the quality of work we are seeing here is fantastic.
Eco Bridge also experienced the first major repairs since 1975, while the gateway to the nation's busiest seaports, via Papa Oshodi Oworoshoki Expressway, is totally being reconstructed into a reinforced concrete pavement in a contract worth 73 billion naira.
It's total for us and everything is smoothly.
Before, if you are coming from Apapa and you are going to Ojota, you spend nothing less than 4 hours. But now, you spend less than 15 minutes before you get to Ojota.
The upgrading of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to handle more pressure demonstrates the federal government's commitment to opening up investment using infrastructure. While the road network is being expanded, the resuscitation of the rail system of transportation is steadily progressing. The 156-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan rail line is already an added option to the movement of people and goods, and the testimonies are endless.
Diversification of the economy becomes more pronounced, and ease of doing business will be promoted.
The infrastructural transformation the country has experienced testifies to its rapid and courageous growth. These experts believe can only get better since the interventions are channeled towards increasing investment opportunities. In Lagos, Michael Aleye, NTA News.
Away from infrastructural development, the Imo State government has set up a commission of inquiry to investigate the causes of the clash at Izombe in Oguta local government area of the state, which resulted in the death of 2 soldiers and 1 indigene. Governor Uzodinma made this known to journalists in the government house, Owerri.
This briefing is coming after a closed-door meeting by officers of the Nigerian Army in Government House, Owerri, who were there to brief Governor Uzodinma on the recent clashes in Izombe, Oguta local government area of Imo State. Governor Hope Uzodinma, in his interaction with journalists on the incident, assures that the state government will spare no effort in bringing the perpetrators to book. He further appeals to the people to refrain from all forms of violence, as a commission of inquiry has been set up to carry out full investigation into the causes of the clash.
I have no doubt in my mind that we will go all out, no matter what it will cost us, to bring those bandits to book. Government detests the action of people taking laws into their hands. Banditry, violence, kidnapping, and all sorts of crime that have been doubled to this state since some of these people escaped from the prison. The good news is that one of those who escaped from the prisons were involved in this incident, and that was the man that was also killed by the soldiers.
He appeals to the people to continue to support government's effort at maintaining peace in the state. In Owerri, Bright Ibuchu, NTA News.
Yes, this Panorama reaching you live from the Lagos Network Center. We'll take a short break now. The news continues shortly.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Welcome back, and now to the issue of the day. In a search for fresh voices and ends that can offer new direction in political leadership, Nigeria, acknowledging the need for our youth population to get involved, was bequeathed with Not Too Young to Run Act by President Muhammadu Buhari. This is with the hope that young people must move away from their stereotype to being elective position seekers. In this background report, Adeniyi Taiwo takes a look at how Father Act has impacted a Nigerian youth in the political process.
More young people into political leadership is to get more young people into the political arena.
This is the mindset that informed the signing of the Not Too Young to Run bill into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018. Designed to get youth seat at the table of political leadership and governance, the act addressed age limit and a few other conditions for political participation in favor of Nigerian youths. This move is in tune with history, as shown by the demography of Nigerian founding fathers who fought and won Nigeria's independence at a very young age. Now, despite making up 51% of registered voters for the 2019 general elections, youths only make up 13% of senatorial candidates, while 27.4% contested for seats in the House of Representatives.
Political parties in Nigeria should give the youth more prominent role in running the affairs of the parties beyond the position of youth leader. This would allow the youth to play a central role in decision-making process of the various political parties. I'm not all oblivious to the structural and economic realities that sometimes stand in the way of young people getting actively involved in the often all-consuming business of politics. These are real challenges for which there are no easy solutions. However, even when money and time are abundant, they are only valuable to those willing to get in the arena.
As the society looks forward to vibrant and quality leadership from the youth, how can the environment support their political aspirations?
Our parliaments, local, state, and at the national level, must also inculcate the culture of internship and mentorship. In other climes, interns do come in to assist, and they garner experience in area of legislative drafting and research. They observe legislative proceedings. They get tutored in bill drafting.
The 2023 general elections is fast approaching. Opinion holders believe this is the time for the youth to get into the arena and take up the challenge. In Lagos, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
Joining me live in the studio to discuss on this is an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur. Has made a name for himself in his profession, and he's been involved in politics, and right now is thinking of vying for a political position in the next coming general election. Is Mr. Jide Adeyemi. You're welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. So let's go straight to the discussion. From that report, you see that we've had young people been involved in politics since our independence as a nation, and now it looks like the younger people are taking the back seat. They're no longer actively involved, and we have to beg and coerce them to go into politics. Why do you think this is so?
Thank you very much. The situation before independence is different from what political situation or society situation that we have at hand now. Young people that fought for our independence at that time, they are empowered at the age of 22, 25, they're already doing well. They could take care of themselves. At that time, this nation, Nigeria, also invested in these people that we call young people at that time, because they enjoy free education, they enjoy a good environment. They don't have to hustle like we do now. Yes. At that time, these people leave school, and then it's guaranteed that you get a job. A Peugeot or a Volkswagen is waiting for you at that time. But now, when we leave school, we begin to struggle to have a good life, and then it becomes difficult for us to now want to go into politics. Money is not the main thing in politics at that time also. So the environment was more favorable than what we have at hand at the moment. So it then become important for us to now encourage young people to go into politics. Also because at that time, young people are in the forefront, but these days, young people are used to support the so-called big politicians. So that is why we have this situation we find ourselves.
As part of effort to also get the younger generation involved in politics, in the decision-making process of our nation, President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018 passed into law the Not Too Young to Run bill into an act, and it's become an act now. Do you think this has helped in any way to also bring in more younger people into politics?
Yes, the bill has helped a great deal, and I must thank the sponsor of the bill, Honorable Tony Nwulu, and everybody that fought for the actualization of the bill. But beyond the rhetorics of the bill, beyond having the bill on paper, we need to translate what the bill stands for into what we should have. I'll give you an example. We say young people were not too young to run, but the truth is, are we not too young to rule? Are we not too young to lead? There's a difference from us from running, but then we must run to win election. Young people that you say are not too young to run, the question I ask myself is that, are we not too broke to run? Because the financial requirement to run for office is something that a lot of young people cannot have. And so the political parties need to begin to understand how to get young people more involved. We have to get to a point where the youth leader of every political party is truly a young person, not a 60-year-old man, not a 55-year-old man who is the youth leader in a political party. Political party also need to move from just giving us the youth leader position into also getting young people more involved. So there's a whole lot that needs to be done to change the narrative for the young, not too young bill to properly be actualized.
All right, sir. Okay, so now you are vying for a political position in the next general election. As a young person, what has propelled you to make up your mind and do this?
So I'm tired of complaining, which is what we do. I don't want to spend my data complaining about Nigeria online again. I don't want to live abroad. I want to live in this country. I'm quite passionate about this country, and I felt that if we allow the situation to continue the way it is, we probably might not be able to effect the change. And political participation, political change, or the change we desire cannot happen without political participation. I've always tell people you cannot drive from the back seat. You need to, even if you sit in front, you have to sit at the driver's seat, not on the passenger seat. And so to do that, I've decided to come out looking at it that the people in my community, in Ibadan Northeast and Southeast Federal Constituency, where I want to participate in election, they deserve more than what we see now. We need more quality representation. Some people have been there who have not been able to represent us, and if we don't change the system, nothing will change. So I felt that let me put myself forward.
Mr. Jide, let me cut you short from that. We really don't have so much time. But for other young Nigerians like yourself, what is your advice for them as the clock is ticking? 2023 is around the corner. What do you think they should do?
So my request to young people watching us today is to know that a lot of us young people don't want to go into politics. We complain that the system is dirty and what have you. If you are running a business, the guys who run the country, they can affect your business, they can affect your daily life. And such, I'm encouraging young people to come into politics and participate so that we can sit on the table where they negotiate our future. A lot of us as young people need to also realize that INEC does not have polling booths. There's no polling booth on social media. There's no polling booth on Twitter or on Facebook. The polling booth is in a different world. So all of us need to get our PVC. We need to participate. We don't even just have to vote. We also have to join the political party, because the process starts from when we determine who represents each of the parties.
We really don't have so much time. I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Jide, for sharing your thought with us and also encouraging other youth to participate in politics. I've been speaking. Thank you very much, Mr. Jide.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I've been speaking with Mr. Jide Adeyemi, is a young entrepreneur. Moving on now, latest figures from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows that there are 284 new cases of the COVID-19 in 20 states of the Federation, including the FCT, as at the 11th of October 2021. FCT has 67 cases, Kaduna 33, Rivers 31, Anambra 23, Lagos and Osun have 22 cases, Cross River and Edo 18, Ondo 13, Plateau 12, Nasarawa 6, Kwara 5, Imo 4, Niger 2, Delta, Ekiti, Jigawa, Ogun, and Oyo have 1 cases each. There are now 207,978 confirmed cases of the COVID-19 in Nigeria, and 195,626 treated and discharged, and sadly 2,756 deaths across the country. And that's all on Panorama today. Thank you very much for watching. I am Kendi Adebisi.
Here's the start, and get